Phyllis from I Sew in the Dull Corner. And today I want to show you a couple more blocks that I've been working on for my sampler quilt. And I hope there's somebody out there following along, using up their scraps with some of these quilt blocks that I'm making. Because when we finish up, we'll have a quilt and it'll be a lot of different blocks, and we'll learn how to make the blocks if we don't already know. So this is number 14 and 15 blocks I'm going to show you today. And this is a fun block to make. It's a 4-patch with 2 half square triangles. And I showed you how to make half square triangles, but I'll just go over it again. You cut the size. These squares will be a 5 1/4 inches. This is just a scrap. So put a line down the center, or however and then sew a 1/4 inch on either side of it, and you end up with half square triangles. And you want to cut the little dog ears off and whatever and square them up if you don't have them quite square. And it gives you 2. So then you have those 2, and then just a 5-inch square, and you sew them together. You sew these 2 together like this, and then you fold this one over and go like this and sew it, and then press them and bring this down on top of this. Of course, it'll be sewn, and go across there, and that's your block. Very easy to do, and it looks nice in a quilt. Now you could, depending on the colors you use, you could put your darker color to the center, but that's your choice. So this is number 14. Number 15 is a confusing block to me. I wasn't getting my angles right. I was having troubles. I had this apart several different times. It's not right, and I know that, and but I think I've got it figured out how to do it now. First of all, you need, you want to end up with a block that looks like something like this. And you want a square, the green, to be on the same side of each block. And to do this part, you take your half square triangles and you line them up so they look like this. Or you wouldn't have to line them up, you could just cut them across here. But when I was making this one, I was getting it all mixed up because I had some of my halves, these little green ones, on here and the yellows there, and it just wasn't. So so how I figured out how to do it, I took this piece for the other half of the square, this piece, and this makes half the block. And then I lined up my half square triangles along here and sewed them on. These are not the same size. And then you see this one, the dark color is on the left, or it doesn't matter, it can be on the right, as long as they all go the same way. So then with the 4 pieces, I put them all lined up. So then I knew I was getting them all going the same direction. If I turned it around like this, it was confusing me. And I didn't know what I was doing wrong. But then I found out that my spinning blocks were going the other direction. You see the point here is going this way, the point is going that way. And this one, the point's going. So you can see it's spinning this way, and this one spins this way. And if you get them going the opposite ways, one spinning this way and one spinning that way, it doesn't look right, and it's confusing. It was to me anyway. Now this block, I think I've got it pretty much right, except it's not big enough. The scraps of material that I was using was a little small. But I thought, well, it doesn't really matter. I'll put it together. They're scraps, you know. So if I... But this, as I said, it was confusing for me. But I think I've got it figured out now, how to do it. And by putting them all lined up on this piece and had the color to either to the right or to the left, it doesn't matter, and then this makes the block. And then when I go to cut it out, I line my block up like this. It has to go up here. This goes along the point, right to the point. And then cut it like this. And that's how well. But just make sure when you're doing it this way, that you have enough space left between each block so that you've got room to cut it. So that's a fun block to, it makes, to me, my brain had to work a little bit putting this one together, which is good. And be sure and subscribe so you can get a notice when I bring out my next blocks, and hope they're not as confusing as this one. And check out my Etsy shop for my doll patterns. And thanks for watching. Bye now.